There are two types of spirit that looks at every aspect and every purpose in life. And the two spirits is pretty much in opposition to each other. So by contrast, contemplating these two spiritual positions, that is a purpose in itself. Now there is the objective spirit and there is also the subjective spirit. The objective spirit is the spirit that sees a thing and looks at the matter in a positive sense. It doesn't look on what the physical body is able to do or is unable to do and determine life based on the possibilities that it sees. But this subjective spirit itself creates its own possibilities and its own purpose, its own paths to its belief, because it's always believing the things that are harder to accomplish or the things that seems impossible. And I could go on and on to explain that some more. But let's talk about the subjective spirit. So there is the objective spirit and there is the subjective spirit. The subjective spirit is the spirit that it tends to be wise, because it tends to make decisions based on what it sees as wisdom and conservative wisdom, whereas now it is using common sense to think that these things cannot happen, because common sense telling it to be more conservative and telling it to be more careful in how it exercises itself. And so the subjective spirit never challenge anything. So it never accomplish anything. So that which it believes cannot happen, it sets a purpose based on the unbelief. And because it never tries anything, it never ventures out, it never accomplish anything. So the objective spirit is the opposite of the subjective spirit, because while the subjective spirit sees this thing as a thing where it needs to exercise common sense and not do it, the objective spirit foolishly challenges these things. But even though the objective spirit go against the norm, go against the conventional wisdom, and challenges these things, it alone, meaning this objective spirit alone, have the possibility to accomplish anything, if anything is to be accomplished, while the subjective spirit never accomplishes anything because it never tries. So when the possibility of attempting that which seems impossible comes to the table, the subjective spirit decides not to challenge this thing based on conventional wisdom, while the objective spirit decides to challenge this thing So because the objective spirit decide to challenge this thing, the objective spirit is the only one that can experience the possibility if such a thing can be done. And the objective spirit is also the one that creates the purpose for this thing that seems impossible to be done. So therefore, the objective spirit sets the purpose and therefore sets the possibility on which all things can be possible, all the impossibly making things, all the impossible sounding things can be possible. Because if there comes a purpose where a man has to decide that a thing is impossible, then that thing is also possible. Because the same thing that is impossible is the same thing that is possible. It is not two different things. So here we are with two different spirits and with two different outcomes. Because the subjective spirit is a subjective spirit because it subjects you to the fear of not having, of not being able to do, of not seeing a thing as possible. So it never knows what is on the other side because it never tries.